The cosmos hums with a melody older than time, a symphony so vast, so intricate, that it vibrates through every atom of existence. Yet most of us wander through life deaf to its call, mistaking silence for emptiness. We've been taught to see numbers as cold tools, music as mere entertainment, and stars as distant specks of light. But what if these were not just fragments of reality, but keys to unlocking something far greater? What if Pythagoras, the man immortalized by a theorem, wasn't just a mathematician, but a prophet who whispered secrets about the soul's journey across lifetimes? Secrets deemed too dangerous to share openly, until now. Imagine living in a world where knowledge wasn't hoarded behind textbooks, but etched into the fabric of existence itself. A world where silence was sacred, where every note played on an instrument mirrored the movements of planets, and where your soul carried memories from lives long past. This wasn't fantasy. It was the foundation of an ancient school founded by Pythagoras, a temple of silence where disciples spent years listening before they dared to speak. Why does this matter today? Because we live in a noisy age, drowning in distractions while starving for meaning. The answers lie not outside, but within, encoded in patterns we can still rediscover. This isn't just another history lesson. It's a descent into the forbidden teachings of Pythagoras, a map to liberation buried under centuries of rationalism. We'll uncover the hidden language of numbers, explore the harmony of the cosmos, and delve into the mysteries of spiritual transmigration. You'll learn why Pythagoras believed the body was a prison meant to refine the soul, how sound could heal illness, and why the music of the spheres remains the ultimate metaphor for enlightenment. They said the universe was random. But what if it's a masterpiece designed with mathematical precision, and you are both the artist and the artwork? By the end of this, you may begin to hear the universe differently. Perhaps you'll notice the rhythm in your breath, the geometry in a flower, or the resonance in a stranger's voice. And when you do, ask yourself, am I vibrating in tune with the eternal music of the cosmos, or am I still searching for my note? So how do we begin to see the invisible forces that shape our lives? Imagine a river, its surface calm and reflective, yet beneath it flows an unseen current, guiding every ripple, stone, and leaf along its course. This is the essence of Pythagoras' teachings, not as mere mathematics, but as a profound philosophy rooted in universal harmony. To understand these hidden forces, we must dive deeper into the philosophical and psychological undercurrents that connect us to the cosmos and ourselves. Pythagoras believed that numbers were more than tools for calculation. They were the living architecture of reality. In his vision, each number carried meaning, vibrating with its energy. 1 represented unity, the origin of all things. 2 symbolized duality, the tension between opposites. 3 embodied synthesis, the reconciliation of conflict. 4 stood for order, the foundation upon which material existence rests. These principles weren't abstract. They mirrored patterns found in nature, art, and human behavior. For instance, consider the Fibonacci sequence, where spirals in seashells, galaxies, and even hurricanes follow the same mathematical proportions. Is this coincidence, or is it evidence of a universal intelligence encoded into existence? Carl Jung might have called this the archetype of order, a collective unconscious blueprint shared by all beings. Jung argued that humanity's symbols, myths, and rituals emerge from this shared wellspring, much like Pythagoras saw numbers as sacred forms underlying creation. Both thinkers point to something undeniable. There is a structure to life, an invisible scaffolding that shapes everything, from the smallest cell to the vastness of space. And when we align ourselves with this structure, we find flow, a state modern psychology calls being in the zone. But what happens when we resist it? To grasp the full weight of Pythagoras' insights, we must confront one of his most radical ideas, the immortality of the soul. He taught that the soul undergoes cycles of rebirth, carrying impressions from past lives into new ones. This concept, known as metempsychosis, isn't just about reincarnation, it's about evolution. Each lifetime offers opportunities for growth, refinement, and liberation from ignorance. Think of it as a spiral staircase, While you may revisit similar themes across lifetimes, you ascend closer to enlightenment with each turn. This notion resonates deeply with Eastern philosophies like Hinduism and Buddhism, which also emphasize the soul's journey toward awakening. Yet, Pythagoras introduced a unique twist, the idea that purification comes through discipline and inner alchemy. His disciples practiced silence, meditation, and ethical living not as ends in themselves, but as means to awaken the soul's memory, a process he called Anamnesis. This echoes Kierkegaard's assertion that truth is subjective and discovered inwardly, not imposed externally. Could it be that the answers we seek are already within us, buried beneath layers of conditioning and noise? Now let's zoom out to examine how these hidden forces subtly shape human behavior and social dynamics. Have you ever noticed how certain environments feel chaotic while others bring peace? Or how some relationships feel effortless while others drain your spirit? According to Pythagoras, these experiences aren't random. They're reflections of alignment or misalignment with cosmic harmony. When we live in discord with natural rhythms, whether through unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or societal pressures, we create friction. But when we attune ourselves to the music of the spheres, life begins to flow effortlessly. Consider the workplace. A team operating in disharmony, where egos clash and communication breaks down, is like an orchestra playing out of tune. Yet, introduce a conductor who understands balance and proportion, and suddenly, chaos transforms into a symphony. This principle applies not only to individuals, but to entire societies. History shows us civilizations that thrived when aligned with universal laws, like ancient Egypt, and those that collapsed under the weight of greed and imbalance, like Rome. The lesson is clear. Harmony is not optional. It's essential for survival. What if the universe isn't indifferent but intelligent, speaking to us through patterns and vibrations? What if the pain we feel stems not from external circumstances, but from being out of sync with our true selves? These questions force us to reconsider everything we've been taught about success, happiness, and fulfillment. Modern culture often equates achievement with accumulation, more wealth, more possessions, more accolades. But Pythagoras would argue that true abundance lies in simplicity, in tuning oneself to the eternal rhythms of existence. Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." For Pythagoras, that why was liberation, the freeing of the soul from ignorance and attachment. It wasn't about escaping the body, but transforming it into a vessel for higher consciousness. This perspective invites us to ask, are we merely surviving, or are we striving towards something greater? Imagine scenes of flowing rivers juxtaposed with time-lapse footage of stars moving across the night sky, illustrating the interconnectedness of all things. Animations of geometric shapes morphing into natural forms, like triangles becoming mountains or spirals turning into galaxies, could visually convey Pythagoras' belief in the divine mathematics of the universe. Expert interviews could feature scholars discussing Jungian archetypes, physicists explaining quantum entanglement, and spiritual leaders exploring the soul's journey. Personal testimonials might show individuals discovering harmony in unexpected places, a musician finding inspiration in silence, a scientist uncovering beauty in equations, or a meditator experiencing glimpses of eternity. As the narrative unfolds, viewers would be invited to reflect on their own lives. Where am I resisting the flow? How can I cultivate harmony within myself and my surroundings? These questions linger, planting seeds of curiosity and transformation. Or consider Rumi, the Persian poet and mystic whose works continue to inspire millions. Rumi's poetry speaks of love, longing, and unity, not as abstract ideals, but as lived experiences. Like Pythagoras, he understood that the soul yearns to return to its source, to dissolve the boundaries between self and other, finite and infinite. Both men defied societal norms, choosing paths that prioritized inner exploration over external validation. Their legacies remind us that transformation begins with courage, the courage to question the status quo and embrace uncertainty. To grasp the implications of this shift, let's return to Pythagoras' fascination with numbers and geometry. These weren't just abstract concepts. They were metaphors for personal and collective evolution. Consider the spiral, a shape found in galaxies, hurricanes, and DNA strands. It represents growth through repetition, each loop bringing us closer to the center while expanding outward. Similarly, our journeys towards self-realization often involve revisiting familiar themes, relationships, and challenges, but with deeper awareness each time. The triangle, another symbol cherished by Pythagoras, embodies balance and ascent. Its 3 points can represent body, mind, and spirit, or past, present, and future. When aligned, they create stability and momentum, propelling us toward higher states of being. Even the circle, with no beginning or end, reflects the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth, a reminder that endings are always beginnings in disguise. These geometric forms offer a blueprint for transformation. They teach us that change isn't linear, it's dynamic, multidimensional, and infinitely adaptable. By aligning ourselves with these universal patterns, we unlock hidden potential, transcending limitations imposed by fear, doubt, or conditioning. 2. Bring this radical perspective to life visually. Imagine animations of spirals morphing into galaxies, triangles forming bridges between Earth and sky, and circles dissolving into endless horizons. Split-screen sequences could contrast chaotic, effort-driven scenarios with serene, aligned ones. A runner straining against resistance versus gliding effortlessly downhill. A painter frustrated by perfectionism versus creating freely, immersed in joy. Expert interviews might feature philosophers discussing the ethics of non-striving, scientists explaining the physics of flow states, and artists sharing how intuition guides their work. Historical reenactments could highlight pivotal moments in the lives of figures like Da Vinci and Rumi, emphasizing their alignment with universal principles. Personal testimonials could showcase individuals who embraced simplicity, mindfulness, or creativity, transforming their lives in unexpected ways. As viewers absorb these visuals and stories, they're invited to confront a bold question. Are you living authentically, guided by inner wisdom, or unconsciously following external expectations? The answer may require stepping off the beaten path and trusting the unseen currents that guide the river of existence. Let us now arrive at the heart of the matter, the ultimate truth that ties together everything we've explored. It is here, in this culmination, that the full weight of Pythagoras' vision reveals itself not as a relic of the past, but as a living, breathing map to liberation. To see the universe as Pythagoras saw it is to awaken to a profound realization. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are the cosmos, vibrating in harmony with its eternal symphony. Imagine standing beneath a starlit sky, feeling the infinite vastness above and the quiet stillness within. In that moment, boundaries dissolve. You are no longer just a body, a name, or a story. You are part of something immeasurably greater, yet intimately personal. This is the essence of Pythagoras' teachings. Existence is not random but intentional, governed by mathematical precision and divine artistry. Each life, each moment, each breath is a note in the music of the spheres, a melody composed by an intelligence both beyond and within us. This perspective reframes how we understand ourselves and our place in the world. Modern science often reduces reality to equations and particles, while spirituality sometimes dismisses materiality altogether. But Pythagoras bridged these realms, showing that the sacred and the scientific are two sides of the same coin. Numbers, for him, were neither cold nor abstract. They were alive, pulsing with meaning. They revealed the hidden scaffolding of creation, the blueprint upon which all things rest. And this blueprint isn't confined to galaxies or atoms. It exists within you, shaping your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Consider the human body, a masterpiece of proportion and symmetry. From the golden ratio in facial features to the fractal branching of blood vessels, every aspect reflects universal principles. Even our DNA follows geometric patterns, spiraling like galaxies across scales. These aren't mere coincidences. They're evidence of a deeper order, a unity underlying diversity. Pythagoras understood this intuitively, teaching that to know oneself is to know the cosmos and vice versa. What makes this realization so transformative is its ability to dissolve dualities. We often think in terms of opposites, mind versus body, self versus other, finite versus infinite, but Pythagoras invites us to transcend such dichotomies. He reminds us that duality is an illusion created by limited perception. Just as light contains both waves and particles, so too does existence encompass paradox without contradiction. This insight has profound implications for how we live. When we view ourselves as isolated individuals competing for resources, life becomes a zero-sum game. But when we recognize our interconnectedness, cooperation replaces conflict. Empathy supplants indifference. Every act of kindness ripples outward, affecting the whole. Every decision, no matter how small, contributes to the collective melody. Pythagoras' emphasis on balance stems from this understanding. Harmony doesn't mean eliminating tension. It means integrating opposites into a cohesive whole. Think of a musical chord. Individual notes may clash when played alone, but together they create beauty. Similarly, challenges and struggles are not obstacles to be avoided, but opportunities to grow, refine, and align more deeply with the cosmic rhythm. At the core of Pythagoras' philosophy lies the concept of anamnesis, the soul's recollection of its divine origin. This idea challenges one of humanity's most persistent fears, the fear of death. If the soul is immortal, then physical, mortality ceases to be an end and becomes instead a transition, a doorway to new beginnings. Death in this context is not loss, but transformation, a shedding of old forms to make way for new ones. This perspective liberates us from attachment, not only to material possessions, but also to identities, roles, and expectations. Who you are today is but one expression of your soul's infinite potential. By embracing change, uncertainty, and impermanence, you open yourself to boundless possibilities. Life becomes less about clinging to what is known and more about surrendering to what is unfolding. The soul's journey through lifetimes mirrors the cycles of nature: birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. Like a tree shedding leaves in autumn only to bloom again in spring, we too undergo continuous renewal. Each lifetime offers lessons, experiences, and opportunities for evolution. The key is to approach them with awareness, using every moment as a chance to remember who you truly are. So what does this mean for you? How do you step off the treadmill of unconscious repetition and onto the path of awakening? Pythagoras provides a roadmap, though it requires courage and commitment. Begin by listening, not just to others, but to the silence within. Cultivate practices that attune you to the rhythms of existence: meditation, mindfulness, creative expression, and time spent in nature. Surround yourself with harmonious influences, music that uplifts, environments that inspire, and relationships that nurture. Remember, transformation is not about perfection, but progress. You don't need to master every principle overnight. Start small. Notice the patterns around you, the spirals in seashells, the proportions in architecture, the cadence of your heartbeat. Allow these observations to deepen your connection to the universal order. Over time, you'll find that alignment feels natural, effortless even. As we draw this journey to a close, picture this: a lone figure standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean. Waves crash below, their rhythmic motion echoing the pulse of the planet. Above, stars wheel silently across the heavens, tracing paths older than memory. The figure closes their eyes, breathing deeply, feeling the unity of all things. Then softly they whisper, "I am the music." This is the final revelation. You are not merely a listener or observer, you are a participant in the eternal dance of creation. Your thoughts, words, and actions compose verses in the grand symphony of existence. Will yours be notes of discord or harmony? The choice is yours, and the consequences ripple infinitely. To bring this conclusion to life visually, imagine sweeping aerial shots of natural landscapes, forests, deserts, oceans, interwoven with close-ups of human faces reflecting awe, peace, and wonder. Animations could depict fractals expanding endlessly, symbolizing the infinite potential within each person. Split-screen sequences might contrast chaotic, disconnected behaviors with moments of flow, community, and creativity. Voiceovers could feature poetic reflections from diverse voices, scientists speaking of quantum entanglement, artists describing inspiration, spiritual leaders sharing visions of unity, all converging on the same message: we are one. Personal testimonials would highlight stories of transformation, illustrating how embracing harmony changed lives. As the screen fades to black, a single phrase appears: "Listen closely. The universe is calling."